We have a communication from Councilor Greenwald encouraging a resolution against bigotry, white supremacy, neo-Nazism, anti-Semitism, and other hate groups.
Is there anyone on the council who objects to the issuance of a resolution against bigotry, white supremacy, neo-Nazis, anti-Semitism, and other hate groups? If there is not, I'm going to refer this directly to the city attorney. Yes, Councilor Sutherland?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you very much. I think that some of these resolutions that come to the city council are intended to, are reactionary to ongoing news in whether it's national or local. My recollection is going back a few weeks ago, there were some people in this community apparently who were putting up posters. I never saw any of them. You had referenced it. You had made a declaration that this is not who we are. I think we can all agree with that. My concern is that these while with good intentions and something that I think that we all agree upon, I think it seeks to divide. There are forces in this nation that are seeking to divide us by gender, by religion, by race, by ethnicity, and I think that we can agree that these people doing this are wrong. But I think it's also, we could declare that water is wet. These things are understood widely. So I think you can do as you see fit. This is in your power to accept this as informational. This is, you can put this resolution to one of the committees to draft a resolution. You can put it to the city attorney to draft a resolution. I think that these are all things that we can do. I don't know the answer as to what is the right thing to do. I don't know if it's the right thing to say that we are going to list these groups and not others, other than just saying other. Some of these groups have been around longer than any of us have lived. And yet now it's an issue. This wasn't an issue last month. This wasn't an issue last year. Of course it was. But is it now that we're doing something, saying something about this, but we're not saying something about extreme religious groups that behead American journalists, or we're not saying anything about the proliferation of nuclear warheads on the planet? So I leave it up to you. But I think that this just opens the door to creating divisive issues. And this is not, I'm not saying that this is divisive. I think this is, it's well-intentioned. But I just think that it's something that I can't imagine anybody voting against this, but I think that we ought to consider our options as to, we could declare this something we all agree to, but do we need to declare a resolution to put it on paper, to make ourselves feel good and to tell all of our citizens that we're good people? Of course we are. So I leave it up to you, Your Honor. Thank you.
There's something about this particular issue, though, that I think we need to keep in mind that makes it important to speak out. If you Google the city of Keene, two things are going to pop up. They're both negative. One of them happens to be Chris Cantwell, a white supremacist who spent a very short period of time in this city, but this city is being branded as his home. And that's a major concern. If you are thinking about bringing a business into Keene, if you are thinking about relocating into Keene, and you Google the city, what you're going to find is white supremacy in this city. And that's something that we need to go on record very strongly and very directly and very personally in opposition to. And that's what makes this one different than a lot of others. Councilor Sutherland?
Yeah, if I may. I agree with you from that standpoint, but at the same time, I think that Keene is one that, we can associate and we can assume and associate these issues. There are people on major media networks right now who are declaring all Republicans as racists, which we all know is wrong. You used to be a Republican. I believe your wife is registered as a Republican, not meaning to drag her into this, but I think we can all recognize that Republicans aren't white supremacists. And so I think it's also, people are going to make their assumptions about Keene. I don't think people are dumb enough to assume that because a person who made the news and had a particular background makes the residents of Keene racists.
Never underestimate the American public sometimes.
But there you have it. I mean, I'm not trying to diminish the issue. I'm not trying to belabor the conversation. I'm just saying that we do what we want. I mean, I think, quite frankly, I think it would get buried in the news cycle with everything else going on in this nation. Thank you.
Councilor Greenwald.
Thank you, Your Honor. Funny you should say about the news cycle. I was thinking much the same. All it took was a hurricane, and suddenly we're not so concerned anymore. Well, maybe this will bring it back out again. And the answer to your questions is yes, we need to say it. We need to say it. We need to confront it. It needs to be reminded. And that's not a petition that I put in. It's an affirmation statement. And the mayor put it extremely well. And the track that this is following, going to the city attorney to formulate a resolution. Then if you don't want to do it, vote no. But I think it's really critical that we say it and we remind ourselves and the public gets reminded. I really don't expect that this is going to make headlines. I mean, we got keynote tonight, we got pumpkins tonight. I'm not even page 3. So.
Councilor Filio.
Thank you. I agree with Councilor Greenwald, and I agree with everything the mayor said. As we know, we've had other resolutions here in the past several months. And I've stated before, now more than ever, local elected officials have to stand forward more than any time in the past. We can't rely on what comes out of Washington to define us, or what comes out of Concord to define us. We define us. And you're right, it is just a resolution. It is just words on a paper, but they're powerful words on a paper. What's worse than doing this is silence. This council cannot be silent for what happens in this city. The mayor is absolutely right, about bad press. Well, we can't respond to all bad press. But these particular issues, are very serious. And if we need to do a resolution a week saying who we are, then we'll do a resolution a week.
Councilor Jones.
Thank you, Your Honor. I agree with your suggestion to send this to the city attorney. I just need, if we do a resolution, it needs to be clear if we're doing it as a value system, as a public entity, or as an employer. There's 2 different ways we can do this. And also, just to remind you that as a member of the City College Commission, we have a subcommittee on inclusiveness, which is also working in the same direction. And we don't want to have overlapping, so it would be great if we do that resolution, if it kind of got steered that way.
Okay. Councilor Cepeda.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think we can look at this resolution from 2 different vantage points. One is to say that we're against these things, but the other one is that we are also trying to support all the people who are affected by these things. So I think that kind of a perspective is even more important and valid. And even though it may not be directly written there, I think that's what it says to the community, that we support all these people who are affected by bigotry, by white supremacists, anti-Semitism, neo-Nazism, and so on and so on. So I think it's really important to stand for that. Thank you.
Councilor Richards.
I think you're taking the right approach. I've been doing a little looking up stuff, great quotes and comments to try to put something together. I don't have them yet because I wasn't prepared for tonight, but I think it was Martin Luther King who said, and I'm paraphrasing, more dangerous than these people are the people who stay silent. So I support you fully.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to refer this to the city attorney for the drafting of a resolution for the city council to consider.